the murderer on the cross. Now that the crowd had dispersed, one of the robbers began to taunt Jesus, saying, "If you are the Son of God, why don't you save yourself and us?" But after he had made this remark, the other robber, who had heard Jesus teach a few times, said to him, "Stop it. We are almost dead, and don't you fear God's judgment at this hour? Don't you see that we are justly condemned for our crimes, but this man is suffering unjustly? We should ask for forgiveness for our sins and salvation for our souls." When Jesus heard this, he turned his face to him and smiled approvingly. When the robber saw Jesus turn his face toward him, it rekindled the flickering flame of his faith. Gathering all his courage, he said, "Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus said, "Truly, truly, I say to you, one day you will be with me in paradise." Even during the intense pain of dying, he showed compassion for the soul of a robber. When this criminal reached out for salvation, he found redemption. Many times before, he had felt the urge to believe in Jesus, but it was only in his final hours that he turned to the Master with all his heart. When he saw how nobly Jesus endured death on the cross, this robber could no longer resist the conviction that this Son of Man was indeed the Son of God. During this event, when the robber was converted and accepted into the kingdom by Jesus, the Apostle John was absent, as he had gone to the city to fetch his mother. The Apostle John recounted the crucifixion in his gospel as he remembered it 60 years later. The other accounts are based on the report of the Roman captain on duty, who, because of what he saw and heard, came to believe in Jesus and entered into the full fellowship of the kingdom of heaven on earth. The repentant robber had been led into a life of violence and crime by a friend who had glorified the gang life as a legitimate patriotic protest against political oppression and social injustice. This kind of manipulation, along with the thirst for adventure, drives many young men to engage in such daring yet cowardly exploits. The young man had looked up to Barabbas as a hero. Now, on the cross next to him, he saw a truly great man, a real hero. As he watched Jesus, an overwhelming sense of love, loyalty, and genuine greatness filled his heart. And if anyone else from the mocking crowd had experienced the birth of faith in their soul and appealed to Jesus' compassion, they would have been received with the same loving consideration that was shown to the believing robber. John returned from the city with a group of 12 believing women, including his own mother. John stood beside Mary, the mother of Jesus, and supported her. Her son Judas, the brother of Jesus, stood on her other side. When Jesus looked down on this scene, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." And to his apostle John, he said, "My son, behold your mother." Then he spoke to both of them, saying, "I desire that you leave this place." And so John and Judas led Mary away from Golgotha. John took the mother of Jesus to the place where he was staying in Jerusalem, and then returned to the site of the crucifixion. After the Passover, Mary returned to Bethsaida, where she lived for the rest of her earthly life, next to Zebedee's boatyard, near John's house. Mary never recovered from Jesus' death, living less than a year after the crucifixion. After Mary had left, the other women stepped back slightly. They stayed with Jesus until he died, and they were still there when his body was taken down from the cross to be buried.